This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Free agency started.
Yippee.
It's still going. It reminds me that this really is just the best day of the year in the sports calendar, I think.
Yeah, it's like a flat-out live show. This is like we walk in, whatever the A block was, you scrap it, and you just go with the flow.
That's literally like, before we started doing this, I tried to pull up a Google Doc and say, all right, let's get a sketch for this show. And the first thing you said was, we're just going to scrap it every 5 minutes because something new is going to happen. I have Woj and Sham tweet alerts on because you have
I've got
to.
Twitter up. Oh, yeah.
Everybody's talking. Stephen A. Smith is beside himself. This is Stephen A. Smith's our tour moment. He is putting out absolute theater on the internet.
He's a content factory. Love to see it.
And he's on TV moments after. And of course, the reason why he's doing all of this is because the good old New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, like I said on Twitter, Knicks gonna Knicks. Like, they really are. They're really just going to Knicks all over this.
I don't want to pound my chest too much, but I do remember when they traded Kristaps in February, and I got on this microphone, and I said they already blew it.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically they hadn't, and who knows if KD doesn't pop his Achilles, does he just say, I'm going to New York, and Kyrie, you can come here or not? Who knows how it would have played out, but they missed. Like, it's at the end, you're just sitting there like, whoops. Like, we ended up with Julius Randle for $21 million a year. Oops.
Yeah, not great. Not great. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are doing not great things, but boy, oh boy, how could the Knicks just not even offer Kevin Durant a max contract?
I mean, putting aside that, like, stupid move, obviously dumb play. You offer every single team in the league should have willingly put up a max contract for Kevin Durant if he wanted to come there. But like, even aside from that, we've talked at length, much more time than we should give them, but we've talked at length about what the Knicks need, which is everything. The one thing like you could have fallen back on if you signed a couple free agents is you have Noah Vonleh, who was your best player, as a very cheap, serviceable stretch four who doesn't need the ball and will do dirty work.
Not going to be there anymore.
Let's go out and sign a stretch four for $63 million.
Stephen A. just gave 30 seconds on the jump ranting about the Knicks not offering Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And I want to give him 30 seconds of our time because this guy is just unbeatable as a content factory right now, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So let the Mashup listeners listen in on what Stephen A. thinks of the Knicks.
Running Live Nation, don't think for 1 second they didn't have everything to do with what has been transpiring here with Kyrie and KD going to the Brooklyn Nets. But in the end, you're the New York Knicks, and not only did you lose out, but you lost out to Brooklyn. And then what do? You sit up there and you send Ramona and Woj information. Well, we weren't going to give him the max anyway. How stupid can you be as an organization running Live Nation?
I love that guy.
That is Stephen A. Gold.
That's pretty good.
That is absolute gold. I, for one... By the way, he posted this immediately after posting that video on Twitter. It looks like he's in front of a green screen, so I'm wondering if he just has a green wall in his house.
He does, for sure. He's got something, or he's like, God only knows where right now, but he's in front of a green screen somewhere.
Boy, and you know, the thing with the Kristaps trade was like, you didn't need to do it when you did it.
Well, he did ask to be traded.
Sure, but it was like, you could have done it in the summer because he wasn't going to play.
Sure, you could have, but, you know, he did say, either trade me or I'm going back to Europe, like right now. And once he's gone, then it becomes a whole nother Pandora's box. And
Fair.
Honestly, what they got for him was about as good. Remember, they called New Orleans, and Dell Demps was not authorized to make a trade, so he could not do it. So they got for him
Poor Dell Demps.
Really the best thing they could have gotten is to get off their bad contracts, get future picks, and have a bunch of cap space. And then they blew it. Like, the first thing they did was non-awful. Like, it's only awful because it's the Knicks and they didn't finish the job. But, like, I'm still not going to knock the trade until right now. Like, I give them credit for the trade. It was a good idea. It was a good trade.
Anytime
now
you can get off $70 million of Tim Hardaway, it's probably not bad.
and Courtney Lee, and you get back 2 first-round picks and a good player in Dennis Smith. Like, it wasn't a bad deal until right now because you didn't fill the cap space.
Terrible.
Now it sucks.
But that's what I said back in February. I think I said they went all in. Now they absolutely have to get 2.
You have to.
They restricted, like,
at the very minimum, you got to get 1,
right.
and it can't be Julius Randle.
And now they got 0.
Like,
they get Julius Randle counts, I guess, but
0.7.
Right.
Julius
you
Randle.
got a half.
Like, yeah.
They got what did what's his face say on Cowherd the other day? They got Zion Williamson without the hops.
Yeah. They did. I guess they thought they were getting Zion.
They got
less than Zion.
The next best thing, just with no hops.
Yeah, it's like Zion 0.5. 0.5 of Zion.
What an absurd comparison that is. I mean, Zion Williamson without the
Enes
hops.
Kanter is just that dude who says stuff. Like
Boy,
he's just.
It was Kanter, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's just that dude who says stuff.
I don't want Kanter to be signed to my basketball team anymore because he said that.
I'll take Zaza. I'm glad we got Zaza. Love him.
Speaking of the Pistons, they made a free agent splash, which is very rare.
A splash. Like they jumped in a puddle.
Yeah, it was like a pebble hitting an ocean.
They skipped a rock.
Wasn't really a splash. A tough word.
Quite as, maybe a ripple.
Maybe if they could have traded Andre Drummond or Reggie Jackson, that might have been a slight splash.
You, like, there's nothing. You said there's nothing they could do to get me out of my seat today. I was like, they could have traded Andre. That would have got me out of my seat, but it probably wasn't going to happen today. Like, there's so much other stuff going on. Nobody's making a blockbuster trade for an all-star, in quotations, center. All-star in quotations, not center. He's definitely a center.
Might not be an all-star, but...
at least we're not hearing about him adding a three-pointer this summer. Like, at least he's abandoned that ship.
Good. He needed to abandon that. He abandoned that like early last season. I remember the first game.
The first 3 of the game, and then we're like...
the Brooklyn game, he missed like 3.
This isn't going to work. And then he kept shooting for a little while, and it was like, you need to stop doing that. And then Blake shot like 38% or something.
He might have been shooting better than John Lure. I'll say that.
I'm going to forget that John Lue ever played for the Pistons. He was like T-Mac.
I wonder if the Bucks are going to forget.
Yeah, he was. He organized a mutiny, actually. Overthrew John Kuster, got him fired. That's Tracy McGrady with the Pistons.
Allen Iverson.
2012.
Allen Iverson on the Pistons was great fun, too.
At least he didn't organize a mutiny.
That's fair.
At least he did not organize a legitimate mutiny. People forget that.
More than fair.
Mo Cheeks coached the Pistons for like 70 games.
I did actually completely forget about that. That is
Overthrew
hilarious.
John Kuster, so I'm not playing for this guy. I'm not showing up to practice.
Boy, those years after Flip were
rough. Real rough.
Not great. So the biggest splash is obviously Kawhi. Kawhi isn't signed yet. Kyrie and Kevin
He
Durant.
will be the biggest splash, though.
Certainly.
No matter what he does, even if he stays put.
I think the Vegas odds for whoever wins next year follow Kawhi.
Yeah, that's fair. If he goes to, I can't believe he's going to go to the Lakers. But then again, it's Hollywood. Like, anything can happen. D'Angelo Russell is apparently not going there. That has not picked up any steam whatsoever over the last 2 hours and 9 minutes.
But what is he going to do now? Because
all signs point to Minnesota.
True.
Windhorst
Okay.
mentioned that thing with Golden State.
I don't know why I kept forgetting them.
It'd be like a bonkers ending if D'Angelo Russell ends up with the Warriors. Like, absolutely wild. I honestly would love it. But I'd also love to see him and Cat. They will play no defense in Minnesota whatsoever. Between Wiggins, Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns, there will be zero defense. But they will score 120 a night.
They're going to be... That actually makes me really excited because as a gambler, I'll just bet the over on every single Wolves game.
They will not play defense.
Every single
no
one.
Defense.
I would thoroughly enjoy that.
Tom Thibodeau coached that team, and now they are completely no defense.
I wouldn't mind. I think I would actually like to see him in Golden State. I don't think the fit makes any sense, but
it does until Klay comes back.
I guess if they're really interested in competing, I guess. But
maybe, Klay's 6'7", he could technically play the other wing.
I think the one part of me is like, are they really going to be interested in competing next year? And the other part of me is like, even when Klay comes back, who knows what the West looks at that point?
Your starting two guy right now is what? Jordan Poole, Jacob Evans.
Jordan Poole. Oh shit!
It's a tough one.
I just got dizzy. Like when
when Livingston's allegedly going to retire.
NBA starting two guard Jordan Poole.
Yeah, and
I'm lightheaded.
I have no frame of reference. I saw Jordan Poole play like 2 games, but I'm not excited for him. But we talked about like Andre Iguodala needing to be severely load managed, and now he's probably going to be a starter. So you need somebody. Like, obviously, you're going to try to get a sign and trade done. Maybe you get back Taurean Prince, even though he's like boys with Durant, so I doubt it. Maybe you get back Joe Harris. You get back somebody. Like, you need a player.
They need a wing bad.
They need a body.
Yeah, they literally just
They're going
need...
to lose Quinn Cook. They're going to lose Looney. They need a body.
Quinn Cook going to the New York Knicks.
Yeah.
They were furiously engaged in talks with Quinn Cook.
Right, because they had to fight off all those other Quinn Cook suitors.
And they had to fight off all the talks from other free agents desperately trying to get to the New York Knicks.
There was a lot of like good signings by small market teams today, like just retaining guys. Like Terrence Ross went back to Orlando on a solid deal.
Thad Young to the Bulls was not a bad signing.
It's just like, what are the Bulls doing?
They don't know.
No, they have
like Garpax has no clue.
No clue. Like, why did you trade for Otto Porter? What do you like? I don't understand what the hell the Bulls are trying to accomplish. Are you going to start Kobe White now? Like, are you moving on from Chris Dunn? Valentine comes back. Is he going to play at all? Like, he missed a whole year. Is he going to play 1 minute? Like, what's going to happen? I have no idea what's going to happen.
They probably should move on from Chris Dunn, to be fair.
I would.
I would absolutely
I would
move
probably,
on.
if I could get anything for him, I'd move him now. But, like, to where? Because he's not going to Phoenix now. They signed Rubio. Orlando's going to wait and see on, Markelle Fultz. Like, who knows where Chris Dunn... Who's a suitor for Chris Dunn? Ish Smith is out there. They'd rather have him than Chris Dunn.
It's got to be just somebody who can absorb him and is willing to just take it.
I mean, the fourth year of Chris Dunn's probably like a decent number.
If Michael Jordan's going to pay $20 million a year to Terry Rozier, take Chris Dunn too, bro.
Miami might be trading half their guys. Maybe they can take Chris Dunn.
Miami might Hassan Whiteside and Jimmy Butler is just it doesn't sound fun, but I think it will be fun.
That's gone right away. If my guess is if that happened, my guess. All right, so I tried to run through a million different things. I couldn't get anything to work in the trade machine on Jimmy Butler with Miami and Philly. But money somewhat gets close, and maybe Elton Brand and Pat Riley are a lot smarter than me where they could finagle it. Now that they have no J.J. Redick in Philly, you're taking back like Dragic and Waiters, Philly native Dion Waiters, noted Philadelphian Dion Waiters, going back to Philly, and then you're taking Jimmy Butler with basically no point guard other than Tyler. Is Tyler Hero a point guard?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, Jimmy Butler next to Tyler Hero and point guard X. Maybe if D'Angelo goes to Minnesota, that's Jeff Teague. Like point guard X. And then you're taking, my guess is, notice I did not mention Josh Richardson. You're taking Josh Richardson and Whiteside and begging Cleveland for Kevin Love and Larry Nance. And maybe they do it. Maybe Cleveland's just like, fine, 1 year of Whiteside.
That's a hell of a deal.
1 year of Whiteside versus Kevin Love, who Miami can keep guys healthier. Maybe you can keep Kevin Love healthy. You get back Josh Richardson. You also give up a good role player on a good contract in Larry Nance.
You also have to hope that Cleveland has a plan.
Cleveland has no plan.
Exactly.
No plan.
And that's like...
Their owner just had a stroke. Like, I don't mean to make light of that, but it's literally what's going on.
It's... Boy, talk about a team that's been quiet and probably shouldn't be quiet right now because
they should be offering Kevin Love to whoever will take him.
They should they're so mixed with Garland and Colin Sexton.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Now they have Kevin Love on this contract that starts next year. That's a team that really we should be hearing a lot of noise from, other than just we were thinking about trading a draft pick, but then we didn't.
I think whoever loses out on Jimmy Butler, like if Philly loses out on Jimmy Butler, they'll make a move somewhere else because they need guards. Well,
I think the fact that they maxed Tobias and then brought back Mike Scott, I think they know Jimmy's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to get a guard then, right?
Yeah,
who's going to shoot?
They can't give the 5 for 180 to Tobias Harris, then rookie max Ben Simmons, and still get Jimmy Butler. They know Jimmy's gone.
I mean, maybe they're working on a sign and trade. Like, they have to bring back shooting. That's why I think Dragic and Waiters make sense. They would want Richardson, again, but maybe Miami wants to hang on to Richardson. Well, not ideal, but if you're going to lose him, you might as well get back a guy who's been an all-NBA point guard, whether or not he's coming off an injury or not, and Dion Waiters, who, when he's on, is Waiters Island and can hit shots that don't make any sense. But when he's not on, which is like 90% of the time, he's awful.
There was a couple times when I remember thinking Miami was Dion Waiters' team. I remember he hit the buzzer beater, and people were like, "This is your town now, kid."
They started this. They started 11-30 and finished 30-11 that year.
Yeah.
After he got healthy, that's what got him that contract. He was outstanding. He lit up South Beach.
Good.
They lost the tiebreaker to the Bulls. The Bulls almost beat the Celtics. They were up 2-0.
He was so good.
He was outstanding. He's not, but he was.
For it was Jeremy Lin. It was Jeremy Lin just in Miami.
A lot more cocky.
Remember, 3 days ago when the Celtics were the dumpster fire in the East and Philly was on the up and up and all. Now it just
dumpster fire is a stretch.
It was, but from what they were to what it was looking like, and now I'm starting to wonder what the hell Philly is going to do because the Celtics seem to have pulled off the greatest pivot I could have imagined.
So Philly's got what, like 10 million plus a mid-level plus a whatever. So I mean, throw all 10 million at it. Who? Seth Curry.
Oh boy,
somebody. You need a shooter. Like you got to have somebody who can run curl off Embiid. Like, that was half your offense with Redick last year, was Redick running curls off Embiid. You got to have somebody who can do that. Kyle Korver's not available. Like, I have no idea. Seth Curry, Danny Green, somebody.
And right now, their salary cap table doesn't look great.
No, it's not. It's
$31 million for Tobias, 27 for Embiid, 8 for Simmons, 4 for Mike Scott, 3 for Zaire Smith, and 1.7 for Jonah Bolden.
Did they draft anybody? Like, did they get anybody who can shoot? I don't even know. The draft feels like 10 years ago. It was like last week.
Matisse, I don't know how good of a shooter he's going to be. They have a hold on McConnell.
He's gone.
But, yeah, I
don't know who. Like, I don't... Seth Curry or Danny Green. Somebody who can shoot the ball. That's who they got to go after now. Unless they pull a rabbit out of their hat and
Danny Green's
trade for somebody.
Connected all the way to Dallas, from everything I've seen.
What if there's like some kind of crazy deal that puts DeMar DeRozan in Philly? He can't shoot threes, but he can shoot jumpers.
He could show Ben Simmons how to shoot a mid-range. That might help.
I mean, think of... That's a hell of a... Like, whoever you put at the two, that's a really good defensive lineup. Whoever you put at the two.
Yeah, but like offensively, I think that further damages their spacing, which is already limited.
You have to have whoever else that other guy is be a shooter.
Like, they just...
Maybe you bring in Forbes with him. That is... Like,
I don't know why San Antonio would do it.
Yeah, but I'm just throwing names out there at this point.
Not the worst thing they could do, but I don't know.
They are desperate for a shooter. That's the whole point of this, is like they have to get shooting now.
Matisse was 36% career in college.
In the Pac-12.
In Washington. And we know how prospects out of Washington fare in Philly.
Right.
Of course, there is that picture where Sam Hinkie was at a Washington game, and they drew the eyes so that it was like the angle of his eyes were actually looking at Matisse and not looking at...
Nice.
So that was pretty good.
Hey, would we forget that like Markelle Fultz would be, a senior in college this year?
Yeah.
Okay, well... Good luck, Markelle.
He's on the Orlando Magic.
J. Cole's praying for you. I'm not.
Speaking of low-key teams that made good moves, the Orlando Magic did well today, I think.
They did. Like, bringing back Terrence Ross. Vucevic is on a somewhat... They should trade Mo Bamba now.
Oh, I agree.
Like, you don't need him. So, if you just paid Vucevic for 4 years...
I still think Mo Bamba has high upside,
I do, too. I'm not saying Mo Bamba's bad. I'm just saying you have made him...
Right.
You've rendered him useless.
Right. So, I would be fine with that if they moved him. I can think of one team that I wouldn't mind them moving him to, but I'm just saying.
Some kind of, like, three-way deal to send Drummond somewhere and give us Mo Bamba. That'd be great.
I doubt it.
No, it's not going to happen.
These pipe dreams for the Pistons
I'm really,
trades.
really upset that Charlotte just immediately took on Terry Rozier and didn't decide to go in the tank and just be a cap toilet.
How the hell do you justify...
I needed them to be a toilet where everybody could just flush their bad money.
You said before we started recording, Michael Jordan has to sell the team.
He should sell the team.
You are absolutely right.
Terrible owner.
Michael Jordan is... He's going to be right there with Jeannie Buss pretty soon as one of the worst. How do you just not... Like, you don't want to give Kemba a Supermax. Okay, I get it. Because the Supermax...
He knew he wasn't getting it. He said, I'll sign for less. If you gave him 5 for $190, he would have signed.
That contract has been signed, one time? Maybe never?
You're going to tell me Kemba Walker isn't worth $70 million over 5 years more than Nick Batum? Because you gave him 5 for $120.
This is where I'm going... Like... Giving Nick Batum 5 for $120 was bad when it happened.
Yeah. And there leaves Kaminsky, too.
I get that you don't want to give Kemba 5 for $220, but you didn't have to. All you had to do was give Kemba 5 for $190, maybe 4 for $170, and he would have stuck around.
All you had to do was not give Michael Kidd-Gilchrist a bunch of money. All you had to do was not give Nick Batum a bunch of money. All you had to do was not give Cody Zeller a bunch of money. All you had to do was not give Jeremy Lamb a bunch of money. Like, you gave everybody a bunch of money, and then when it came time
for the best player in franchise history,
who was making what? $12 million a year over the last 4? You had on a discount. He's your all-time leader in points, assists, and steals in franchise history, and you don't pay that guy? He's had 7 coaches in 8 years?
He took what amounts to an $80 million discount on a Supermax contract. Not that was ever on the table
No,
in Charlotte.
right.
But he was willing to go that low.
Right.
All you had to do was offer him that. But how do you not offer 4 for 140 at least to the best player in the history of your franchise? And then you
5
turn
for
around
170 at the
and you're
very
okay
minimum.
with giving $60 million to Terry Rozier over 3 years.
Chris Middleton just got 5 for 180. Kemba can't get 5 for 180?
You know how pissed off Kemba's going to be when the Celtics play the Hornets next year and Kemba's running point against Terry Rozier?
Maybe in like October, but the Hornets ain't going to be in the playoffs.
No, but you know what I'm saying. That October game when they play the Hornets and Kemba's looking down Terry's throat and puts 50 on his head, I can't wait.
60.
I am so excited. That's the biggest thing for me out of this free agency is Kemba Walker has been saved.
It's awesome. It's
added
awesome
bonus that he's going to my favorite basketball team. But bonus for the NBA, Kemba Walker is going to be on national television often this year, and that is a very good thing.
I mean, like the benefit Kemba's going to have, not only from like playing with guys who are actually really good, but in a coaching staff like that has actual real live basketball IQ people.
Yep.
And not like, I don't want to knock James Borrego. I'm sure he's like a decent coach. He's a pop disciple, blah, 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 whatever else. Like they have had like a rotating cast of mediocrity be his essentially entire rest of his roster for 8 straight years. Like a guy was playing with Tyrese Thomas his rookie year. They lost 59 games. They only played 66. There was a lockout. They lost 59 of them. He's had, like, I'm pretty sure that he had 4 coaches in his first 4 years. He's been coached by 2 different Silases. Father and son have coached Kemba Walker.
He's also like the best personality maybe in the league.
They love him in Charlotte.
He's
built for a small market star.
He's loved by every fan. He's loved by every player around the league.
Cardiac Kemba. He's the short guy.
He's like the nicest guy that you could possibly find, and he's a guy who's like not coming out and going, "I just want the I need this big contract." He's like, "All I want to do is make the playoffs."
That's the guy you pay,
right?
Like that in every way, shape, and form. Kemba Walker is the guy you pay,
and you know who the guy
on and off the court. Kid from the Bronx, never been in trouble. Like, you pay that guy.
It's not even a question.
No, it's not.
Like, that's
you
why
pay Nick Batum, you won't pay that guy.
This whole lead up through free agency, when we were like texting back and forth, the Celtics are losing all these players. Who's a realistic option for them to go and get? And I'm like, well, they're not getting Kawhi. They're not getting KD. They're not bringing Kyrie back. Horford might leave. I don't know who they can get. I didn't even think of Kemba because it just made so much sense for Charlotte to pay their best player in the history of the franchise. Look at what Portland just did with Damian Lillard.
That's a lot of money, and he's worth it. Like, no, and they don't even have an owner right now. They might sell the team, but they were like, doesn't matter. Like, this dude, you pay him. Like, this is the guy you pay.
He said, I want to be here.
The point guard to everything. And you're in a small market and you have a star like that. You don't think about it. You just pay him because he's worth it. It's utterly ridiculous that they did not pay Kemba Walker.
It shocks me.
They will. When is Charlotte ever going to be good again? Like, what's the pathway for them to be good? 15 years?
I don't think there's a pathway at all. As long as Michael Jordan is the owner of that team, I don't think there's a chance. I think that's just honest opinion.
Bridges.
Man, oh man. And I imagine, I love Miles Bridges, and I do feel bad that he's stuck there.
Don't worry, he's got the right agent. He'll get out of there.
Imagine if they would have drafted Shea. It might have been a much better look for this team.
They have Malik Monk. They have all these guys that just don't make any sense.
And Malik Monk, I'm still, I think in a different system, could still be an upside player.
Anybody in
Detroit, he could be an upside player.
He'd play. He'd be the best shooter on the team.
It's a good start.
Like, hey, I'll take him. No problem. I don't mean to knock you, Malik Monk. Come on up.
How good do we think the Nets actually are?
I mean, they're loaded, kind of, if you look at it. Like, theoretically, they should be very good, but we thought the Celtics would win 65 games. You never know when that dude's in charge. Like, if he's the best player on your team and he's driving the train, who the hell knows?
And the thing I kept seeing today was somebody tweeted, Kyrie's going to have an entire year to build chemistry with the young guys before Kevin Durant even steps on the court.
Oh, right, because Kevin Durant's so good at building chemistry.
Right, but then somebody's like, oh, it's a good thing that Kyrie did that so well when Gordon Hayward was rehabbing a leg injury and he had a full year head start to build chemistry.
It's so eerily similar how it works with Kyrie in a new situation and with KD. Like, KD's going to go somewhere. They're going to have probably a decent year. They're going to win. Then in 2020, in the fall, when he starts playing and they start 6-5 in the 11, everybody's going to be like, the Nets are better without KD.
Yep.
And it'll be the same damn thing for KD.
Or Kyrie's going to get hurt, and the young guys are going to come. And
it happens every year, right? Kyrie
does.
got hurt at some point this year. He didn't miss a bunch of games, right? But he
was
had a knee or something.
Leg strain, knee strain, whatever it was. And I think he missed as many games as
Remember when he threatened to have
Kawhi
surgery
did
if they wouldn't trade him? Like, he's got a knee thing.
Also, it's just like talking about guys you pay in Kemba, who's I just want to make the playoffs. I just blah blah blah. All this stuff about loyalty and staying in one place. Then there's the guys you don't pay, and it's kind of the guy that's Kyrie Irving, who
I'd pay him though.
I know you have to because of his talent, but it's like there's a lot. The Nets had come out and said, like, if they don't get DeAndre Jordan and Kevin Durant, I'm still not sure that they get Kyrie on his own because it's such a flight risk.
I bet they do. Like like at the end of the day, you look at the dude on the court and what he averaged, like 26 and 6. Like, he can friggin' play, dude.
24 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, he can...
Which is actually almost better.
He can play. Like, the dude can absolutely play. There's no doubt about it he can play. For as shitty as he was in those last couple games in the playoffs...
Real bad.
Second team All-NBA.
Historically bad.
Like, he's a damn good point guard. He can score it. He can make plays. He may be awful in a locker room. He more than likely is awful in a locker room. He is injury prone, but it doesn't matter because nobody can fill it up like that dude at that size. Like, he is the best. He's the best difficult shot maker in the NBA right now because Kevin Durant's out.
Yeah, the problem I have, like, and I agree with everything you said, and I do like the player Kyrie.
Like, I don't like the guy personally.
Oh
like,
no, I hate him now.
It's just like he just does these things that I don't understand, and I used to like him. He was the number one point guard in my high school class. I've been following the guy since then. I thought he was amazing at Duke. I thought he was amazing in high school. Like, I think he's a great player. He's batshit insane.
He's nuts.
Like, he's crazy, but he's a great player. Like, a hell of a player. And Iverson was batshit insane, too, and just in very different ways. Iverson was 90s insane. Kyrie is 2010s insane.
Kyrie is, like, I think Kyrie is much more dangerously insane, too, because just, like...
Cause he's smarter. That's why.
Yes, considerably.
Iverson just did dumb stuff. Kyrie's just doing weird stuff.
But it's, like, bad weird. It's it's not good at all.
Not good.
And it's not anything that I would want near any promising young talent, i.e.
luckily,
the Brooklyn Nets.
But you know what?
Which is like this.
Jason Tatum's what, 20?
Yeah.
LeVert's like 24. Dinwiddie's in his mid-20s. These guys aren't nearly as young.
It's fair.
Like,
but they are they are as much up and coming.
Sure. Absolutely.
Hopefully, I think like having Kenny Atkinson, maybe Kenny Atkinson will be more, especially
influence.
with the 4-year deal. I know the 4th year is a player option.
They kept their whole staff. Their entire staff got extensions.
But the 3+1, knowing that you have him for 3 years, I think Kenny Atkinson might be easier for him to go, hey, cool the fuck down on all this weird ass shit you're saying in the locker room. Nobody wants to hear it.
Kenny Atkinson was an assistant on that Hawks team that got swept by the Cavs with Kyrie.
It's true.
Like, I don't know.
True.
The first thing that popped in my head was, man, I really hope Kyrie likes Kenny Atkinson because that one's going to be quick. If he doesn't like him, which doesn't make, he just got an extension. It's all like that, but this is the leverage that star players have over coaches. Doesn't matter if he just got an extension. If it's clearly not working, they're going to find somebody that works.
But what if it, like, this is where I get a little nervous with what the Nets did because, like, I think if KD's not hurt and you're bringing them both in fully healthy, it's a much better situation.
Oh, hell, well, no shit.
Duh.
Like,
but because I don't think Kyrie's going to be the leader in the clubhouse in that situation. Right now,
KD's still a hermit, though. It's not like he's changed.
True.
He's the only one who lived in San Francisco last year.
True.
He's the only, like, he didn't live near any of them. Like, he's still just a shut-in and a dude with burner account. Like, it's not going to be different. Like, I think it'll be, like, a year of just kind of forgetting that. Like, we will forget something. I don't think we'll forget how good of a player Kevin Durant is, but when somebody goes away for a year, you always forget. People are forgetting the Kristaps Porzingis thing. Like, it's wild he makes 5 for 158, but that dude's a hell of a player. He might earn it.
It's the same thing like with Kawhi a year ago when at the start of the season, people were like, is this guy even a top 15 guy anymore?
You know, he's really good.
He's probably the best player in the league.
That's what happens. Like, he'll go away for a year and we'll forget that, like, we won't forget Kevin Durant's an unbelievable scorer. We'll just forget that, like, all this shit swirls around him all the time. And then he'll come back in the locker room and that shit will swirl again and be like, what's going on? Oh yeah. Like,
maybe
he does this stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If the Nets are just not that good under the Kyrie Irving and everyone else without KD, the KD stuff might still swirl. There might be burner accounts.
Think so.
You know, if this team had Kevin Durant, Very well could happen.
This is a 3-year process at minimum for Brooklyn. Like,
the other thing that scares me for him is Kevin Durant's a 7-foot tall guy who just had a ruptured Achilles injury. The worst injury a basketball player can suffer.
Mino Hassan pointed out something interesting.
I really hope we don't forget how good he is, because I think that would be part of why.
It's good that it was to his right leg, I guess, as opposed to his left leg, because he's right-handed and his main push-off leg is his left leg, so they pointed that out, and apparently that matters. I'm not a doctor. It seems like a torn Achilles is a torn Achilles no matter what leg it's on. But
especially for how often he handles the ball as a big guy, I think just doesn't really matter.
His footwork is maybe the best footwork in the NBA. Like, he can beat you without dribbling, just by jabbing and spinning and doing those. Like, how many times you see Kevin Durant catch the ball, not take a dribble, and just shoot, even though there's a guy on him because he made some move with his feet. Like, he clearly relies on his feet quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's not just, he's a shooter, he can catch and shoot. Like, no, dude, he's unbelievable.
He is incredible.
Yeah.
I get nervous when it's a ruptured Achilles.
Oh yeah,
I get nervous when there's a year off, and I do wonder what kind of season they have next year, what that does for their perception around Kenny Atkinson, what that does for their perception around Kyrie. I think fans could sour on Kyrie really fast if this year doesn't start really well.
And Nets are a super interesting fan base. It's like the least recognizable team internationally or whatever for being in that big of a market. Like, the fan base is like, I think it will all be new. I think 70% of Nets fans just had their first day as a Nets fan.
It's probably true. Somebody tweeted, I can't wait until Kyrie and Kevin Durant's first game at Barclays against the Knicks when they're getting booed because it's 75% Knicks fans.
Yeah, like, it'll be... I've heard... I can't remember where I heard this, but somebody was like, anytime I've ever heard of anyone going to a Nets game, they got free tickets. Like, nobody's actually gone and spent money and gone to a Nets game. It's just been like, oh yeah, I got these tickets to the Nets, want to go. Like... I can't remember where I heard that, but somebody was like, I think it was somebody that lives in New York, was just like, yeah, I've never heard of anyone going to a Nets game unless they got free tickets.
Tough look. It's a tough look if you're the Nets. Al Horford update.
Oh boy.
Mark Stein tweets, the last 2 teams consulted listed 2 different destinations for Al Horford. How does this keep happening with this guy?
I don't know, man.
How does every single player in the league have their free agency destination? Jimmy Butler earlier today wants to be in Miami. Kevin Durant to Brooklyn, Kyrie to Brooklyn. Everybody has their destination leaked well in advance. Al Horford?
I mean, Rick Bucher was 95% sure KD was going to the Knicks a month and a half ago. I guess that's 5%.
I mean, people do just tweet shit just in hopes that they have the right outcome.
What does huddling mean? Well, Mark Stein says Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell were huddling as recently as yesterday. Like, literally? Or just like they were in the same spot?
I don't like that
like,
use of the
did
word
they
at all.
throw their arm around each other and have a real close talk? Or were they just like at a cabana at Chateau Marmont? Like, what are we talking about here? What is huddling?
Their Snapchat location.
And what league sources told you they were huddling?
Both of their Bitmojis were on the same spot in the Snapchat map. Who says huddling?
Why are we using these adjectives? Why are we using these adverbs? Like,
it was on draft night. Somebody said, the only reason I'm on Twitter tonight is to watch Woj break out a thesaurus. Because they just have to come up with all these different words.
You've seen that for like 3 days of Woj basically confirming people were going somewhere with different adjectives.
Yep.
Like, Kyrie is focused on the Nets.
Yep.
Like, okay, so Kyrie's going to the Nets. Like,
so Jimmy Butler's preferred destination.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler said he wishes to be in Miami. So, like, he's a free agent. So is he going to Miami? Or what are we talking about here? It's past 6. Just tell me what he's doing.
Speaking of Jimmy Butler, Miami's just the weirdest destination.
I guess if you really want people who you know are, like, on your wavelength, like, name a more Miami type of mindset than Jimmy Butler. Like, loves the party, loves the flash, but also loves to work his ass off and want people that will only work their ass off and be blue collar. Like, you're talking Pat Riley. It's a perfect marriage. But you'd like to have something else to pair him with.
Do you want to win?
Jimmy Butler, like, yeah.
But it's Jimmy Butler says he wants to win.
Jimmy Butler blindly trusting Pat Riley to make a winner. That's what he's doing.
He says,
like, great coaching staff, great GM. They'll figure it out. Pay me $180 million.
He says, I want to win, but I also want to be in Miami. Well, pick one, because you probably can't do both.
State income tax is, a shitty thing, and in Miami it isn't there. You still get the entertainer tax. It's not like that goes away, but, like, I guess you're literally just pushing your chips into Pat Riley and being like, you have a great coach, you have Miami, you can get other people to come here, You have some things you can do. I trust you. By the way, you have to give me 5 years because no one else will. Like, that's how Miami wins and no one else does, is they'll give them the 5th year.
Yep.
So if they're the only team willing to give them the 5th year, I'm sure Houston would do it, like, just to get them. But I haven't heard anything about Houston today, and Houston strikes out, then I can't wait for the talk to get back loud again. After it was like all this thing, the free agency passes, and Houston is left with nobody, and the talk starts to rise again, and then we get the Chris Paul trade. Then we get Chris Paul for Kevin Love and Chris Paul going somewhere else.
That Chris Paul trade is starting to feel like something that's going to happen in like August, where like with Kyrie, when Kyrie demanded the trade, and then it was very quiet for like a month and nobody talked about it.
Minnesota? Like,
yeah,
he asked for a trade on the day after the season, but we didn't find out till August. This time we found out in May.
Yeah,
like I think I said the second that happened, like, they're the new Minnesota. This is Minnesota from last year. They're good. It looks like it fits.
Just considerably better.
They just can't figure it out from a like chemistry standpoint and liking each other standpoint, and somebody's got to go because they're way too big of egos.
But like, if you were Houston, the Warriors being out, why don't you just run it back? Like, it just seems like the best thing to do.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it just be like, hey, we're probably the best team in the West? Like, Utah's made some nice moves, but I mean, we've beaten them in 5 games 2 years in a row. Denver is getting a maybe Rookie of the Year candidate, but other than that, they're not adding.
Barring Kawhi going to the Lakers. Well, I mean, anywhere Kawhi goes in the West is probably immediately
for a second. Like, yeah, they're
immediately
good too.
The best team.
I mean, LeBron and AD is a rested LeBron and a somewhat rested AD. Like, if they don't get another guy, they do have $32 million in cap space, and they can add some things that actually work. And it's not a huge downgrade to miss out on player X that isn't Kawhi Leonard. Like, if you miss on Kawhi Leonard, it sucks. But if you're left with $32 million and you can go get Danny Green and Seth Curry, and you wanted DeAndre Jordan, but that's not going to work. Like,
I mean, there are guys on the market who they still.
Pat Bev,
Jimmy Butler's on the market. Pat Bev's on the market. D'Lo is still on the market. There are things that they can make happen.
The Lakers are still there, and they still have LeBron and Anthony Davis, which is for the money. With KD and Steph Curry no longer being a thing, that's probably the best duo out there.
If they do get Kawhi and no injuries occur next year, they win, right? They just win.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
Like, if
to have those 3 guys on the same team is like it's like KD going to. It's the same. We won't knock them because nobody knocks Kawhi like that, but it's the same damn thing.
And I don't think they would be the 1 seed in the West at all. I think it'd be the load management type of thing where they'd be like
Denver's going to be the 1 seed.
Yeah, they'll be the Lakers would be like a 3, a 4. They'll get home court. They'll get into the playoffs, and then those guys will play every minute of every playoff game, and they'll just cruise.
Sure.
Like, if they're all healthy,
they'll smoke Utah or Denver in the second round.
No problem.
Whether they're 3 or 4, they'll
And then, hey, if the Celtics manage to pivot back to Al Horford and Gordon Hayward gets back to being a regular player, the natural life cycle of the NBA occurs, and we have a Lakers-Celtics finals.
It's so interesting to see what Toronto will do, too. Like, you almost have... Like, you can't trade Lowry and go in the tank after a championship. Like, you give one... You can. You should. And Masai Ujiri has shown the ability to take that out of it and just do it anyways.
Yeah, he knows.
But, like, if you lose Kawhi, maybe you just say, we're celebrating this championship and we're gonna build around Siakam. And we're probably going to be the 6th seed in the East next year. And it's, it is what it is. You got a championship. Maybe Kawhi, like... Now, if he's going to the Lakers, you're not getting anything back in a sign and trade. Maybe you could do, if he goes to the Clippers, which doesn't sound likely at this point, maybe you get something back.
Has there been any words that it's not likely? I thought it was still just as likely as it was yesterday.
You keep hearing Lakers, like everything.
I know Ramona said it's a done deal.
Far be it from me to ever listen to Chris Broussard, but Chris Broussard said Lakers too.
I don't care what Chris Broussard said.
I saw the
tweet.
Just another guy.
I saw the tweet where Chris Broussard says. It's a done deal to the Lakers. Like, Chris Broussard says a lot of things.
Chris Broussard works for Fox Sports, so he has zero credibility in my eyes. But he does have a blue check mark, and he was willing to put his name on it. So take that for what you will, I guess. I
mean, Rick Bucher's been willing to put his name on a lot of shit too.
Both those guys got fired by ESPN.
Interesting how that works, isn't it?
Amazing. But hey, I would just stay in Toronto if I were him. Like, run it back.
It does seem...
Run it back.
Like, if you win a championship, that's just what you should do. Just run it back.
Like, you're still the favorite in the East.
We just won
Kevin
a title.
Durant's hurt. Like, you can beat Brooklyn. It's not like they can't beat Brooklyn. DeAndre Jordan isn't even going to start. People are acting like DeAndre Jordan is just this big signing. He took a year off from playing basketball this past year. He was terrible.
Right now, let's assume Kawhi stays. Who are the best two teams in the East?
Toronto, Milwaukee.
Yeah, duh.
Yeah, like I Philly just lost a lot. Like Philly, and I'm assuming Butler's leaving.
If we go top 4, is Philly in the top 4 anymore?
Depends.
I think Boston's pivoting to keep themselves there.
Yeah, as of right now, I don't know what to make of Philly. They have no shooting. They have
literally
no guard depth whatsoever. Like, you're starting TJ McConnell at this point.
Yeah, it's rough.
Like,
3 days ago, I would have said Boston was the one of the top 4 to fall out.
And this is a team with 2 All-Stars and a potential third now. Tobias is in the East. He might make an All-Star team. Like, not that he hasn't been in the East before, but like, they should be good.
Team?
But it doesn't fit. Like, that doesn't fit. Those 3 pieces don't fit together at all.
You're telling me Tobias Harris was in the Eastern Conference before? What team was he on?
Orlando, Milwaukee, and Detroit.
What's that last one?
Detroit, yeah. I like Blake Griffin. I'm not even mad about it anymore. I don't care. And an All-NBA player in Detroit since, like, ever.
Third team.
Hey,
it counts.
I'll take it.
It counts.
Like, I'll take it. Like, in all reality, like, I can't stress that enough. Philly has to find some kind of glue, because right now they just got, like, literally 3 pieces that don't make any sense. Like, you have Embiid with a stretch 4 next to him, so I guess that kind of works, but he wants to play outside too. I'm not really sure. I think Simmons should be the 4 in that offense and not Tobias Harris, but you just paid $180 million for Tobias Harris, so I guess he's your 4. They need shooting. They need a guard. They have no guard depth. So Philly out of the top 4, in my opinion, in the Eastern Conference. I don't see it.
I think they're a disaster. And I think as far as young talent goes, Boston's still at the top. And then I think Milwaukee is a slight drop-off just because they lost Brogdon.
Boston's still at the top, or how quickly does Atlanta become the best young talent team?
I guess that probably, yeah, I'll swing it now. Because Boston they're all over 21.
Yeah. I said, man, Atlanta's...
I think Atlanta could be one of the top
they could be looking at
5-6 teams.
I think they're looking at a 7 or 8 seed. And I think they really will look at a 7 or 8 seed.
They look...
We'll see what happens. A year of planning for Trae Young. Like, we don't know what DeAndre Hunter's going to be. We don't know how it all fits. But, man, like, talk about young talent. You got to mention East or West. You got to mention Atlanta right now.
It's true.
Like, they're loaded with young talent.
I keep thinking that Boston's talent is younger than it actually is.
Yeah, they're getting older.
I mean, they are still young, but it's
3 for Tatum.
The joke of Jason Tatum's only 6 years old has gone on for so long that it's like, wait, he still is really young, right?
So the Bulls have young talent, but we've already said, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They could be looking at an 8 seed if they figure anything out, but I don't know. That doesn't seem to work ever with the Bulls. Washington, that's another one. Will Bradley Beal move this summer? Will Washington hire a GM this summer?
I doubt it. They should. Like, that's one guy that they should move.
Daryl Morey to get fired?
Maybe.
Like, what else are you doing?
They don't know what they're doing.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Like, nothing that they've done makes sense.
They don't have a GM.
I don't know who's making their decisions.
Yeah, like, they don't have one. They tried to hire one. He didn't want the job. Then they tried to hire another one. He didn't want the job either. I have no idea what they're doing.
Brooke Lopez, 4 years in Milwaukee.
That's like this. We said
it got
last
quiet.
Week.
6 to 8 was like nonstop contracts.
They've got what now? Like, they lose Mirotic, they lose Brogdon, and they don't
really lose Mirotic because they never really had much from Mirotic.
But theoretically, it's a guy, it's a body. They're probably losing Ilyasova, so that's another stretch 4 off the board. This is when Milwaukee has to, like, Chris Middleton can't average 19 points anymore. I get that he was an all-star and he's a great shooter.
But now you're making $172 million.
Now you gotta at least 22 a night from you, and you can't disappear in the playoffs because he did. Like, there are certain things now when you have that kind of contract when you're making.
He's the highest paid player on the team.
I was gonna say you're making considerably more than Giannis.
It's the 3rd biggest contract in NBA history. Yeah. Did you see that? That was shocking to me. I don't know why I thought there were so many larger contracts signed, but when I saw that this was the 3rd biggest contract in NBA history.
Total value, right?
Yeah, not by average annual. But yeah, I was stunned.
They're gonna get bigger.
And I mean, they are in a really tough cap position after this season. Obviously, I think they will be able to hold on to Giannis because they have his bird rights. But this year we saw that didn't really matter because sometimes teams don't get interested, and this team was just cheap enough to let
you think
Brogdon
Giannis
walk.
Will stay in Milwaukee? That's going to be the underlying question, I should say, this year.
I think paying Middleton, will make him stay in Milwaukee. Because it'd be tough if they let Middleton walk and then they have to look at Giannis next year and they go, you understand, man, right? You get it.
They're not going to win 60 this year, right?
No.
Yeah. So, if they win 55 and they lose in the second round, he's got a serious decision to make.
Can you imagine if he leaves?
He said he's not leaving till they win. And Giannis seems like the type of dude where loyalty is a big thing to him.
I'm just thinking, for them as an organization, if he leaves and they're stuck with Middleton on $32 million a year,
everybody's gone. If Giannis leaves, that's an instant rebuild.
But they can't even, how are they going to move Middleton's contract?
Well, hopefully he's still good. Hopefully he's still close to 50, 40, 90, and he's okay. But,
I got to look at this breakdown because he's 28 years old right now. He's going to be $33 million at 29, 35 at 30, 38 at 31, and $40 million as a 32-year-old in 2023.
He can still shoot. Contracts for shooters age better than contracts for guys who can't shoot. I'm not saying it's going to age well.
If he gets hurt once in the first 3 years,
one serious injury is you're pretty much screwed. You don't have that leeway now of being able to add a Mirotic at the deadline or add a Pau Gasol at the deadline who didn't even play. They added so much at the deadline, they won't have that room now.
That's one of the things.
Against it. They don't want to pay the tax.
That's one of the things I'm noticing, that this CBA where they've inspired player mobility, it's just every contract is bad.
Oh yeah, except for Williams.
Great contract.
Unbelievable contract.
There's not one contract for a max player. Go to every max contract in the league, find one that's good. Kyrie Irving on that contract, it's not going to end up being a good contract. No, the final years of it will not. Kemba is probably a decent one, but again, he's old.
Bron is old, but you're still
and he just got injured, and he's. But it is
came
LeBron,
back and he was still averaging 27, 8, and 8.
But it's this is where people on Twitter, people follow the game, and they're like, "Do you really would you spend that much money for that player?"
Contract. If he hasn't signed it yet. But if he comes back healthy, I think Clay's is a good contract.
You have to pay. But that's the thing. Is would you want to pay him this much money? What people said with Middleton.
Bet any team in the league would pay Klay Thompson that much money.
Easy. That's
he's just plug and play.
And he is young enough that it's we can go with that. But Steph Curry signed, he's going to be 32 years old, and it's
a lot. That was back pay when you had two MVPs for $11 million a year. That's back pay. But
if Draymond Green gets a max contract now, it's going to be a bad contract.
It's going to be tough. But right now, it was a max extension when he got it, right?
That's where
$18.5 million.
Yeah.
So
that's where it's the first 2 years of these contracts usually pretty good. The final 3 usually not. That's where I think it's going to be a worry for Kyrie. I think Brooklyn's in a better position because he signed the 3+1. But
I'm trying to think of any max contract. Can you imagine? Chris Middleton averaged 19 points a game. Lou Will was 22. Lou Will makes $8 million.
And he's a sixth man.
Chris Middleton. Lou Will's the only person in NBA history with 30 and 10 in less than 30 minutes. And he doesn't make anywhere close to what Chris Middleton makes.
It's not right.
It's wild. I love that guy.
I'm still stunned that Terry Rozier got a $58 million contract. That's one of the worst contracts I've ever seen in my life. Even if he ends up being good, he's in Charlotte. He's he's dead.
Oh yeah, so it's Charlotte is legitimately they're. I thought Miami was there too, but they're with the Pistons of their absolute best before they lost Kemba was a 6 seed. They weren't getting better than the 6. They were never going to break into that top 5. Now you've lost Kemba.
They might win 10 games.
It'd be like if the Pistons lost Blake. They would just be sat with nothingness but bad contracts.
Yeah.
That's all you have now if you're Charlotte. It's bad contracts and maybe you could give away Monk to get rid of one of those bad contracts, but I don't even know that somebody would take Malik Monk for Nick Batum's money. I don't think they would. Who would do that?
I don't think. Why would anyone even be interested?
Would somebody take Miles Bridges for Nick Batum's money? Or you want to trade the only good thing you have? You're letting Kaminsky walk. Why are we talking so much about the Hornets?
I don't know. The fact that they let Kaminsky walk and then gave Terry Rozier $58 million. But I was just talking bad contracts, and it's anytime you talk bad contracts, you're going to go to the Knicks and you're going to go to the Hornets. Yeah. The Knicks got off all of theirs, but then they didn't give out any new ones.
In December, I would have said, of course you let Kaminsky walk, but he had a good second half. You probably want to throw a 4 for 20 at him just to see if you can get him. Or at least put an offer sheet on him and restrict him. Just give yourself the chance to match.
When is this CBA up?
2022 or 2021?
Not 2021. That'd be next year, right?
No, it's 2 years.
I got to look it up because I'm just thinking boy, Adam Silver's got his work cut out for him on this next CBA. And I know
he's got a big bargaining chip, and it's marijuana.
It runs through 2023-24 with an opt-out after 2022-23.
Okay.
So
he can dangle that card. Marijuana's fine. That's fine. We're going to lower the season. You're going to make a little less money, but everybody can smoke.
The new one, actually, the things that they were talking about sound great.
Yeah.
Like a mid-season tournament would be fantastic.
I'm so down for that, but like I don't want it just the NBA. Bring in the European teams. Like, let's do it. Let's make it. Let's make it look like soccer. Like
that would be. Or
bring in
fun.
like the Mexican and Canadian teams and just slaughter them.
The one thing I wouldn't want to lose is Christmas Day.
No, definitely not.
So if you do a mid-season tournament, it's got to be like January, February.
I would say just scrap the All-Star break. We don't need it. Like when we just name All-Stars and then let them play against the best players.
The
from
game
the world.
stinks.
Yeah.
The dunk contest stinks.
Have the young kids let's have a Young Stars thing.
The Rising Stars
where they do
Challenge?
a dunk contest and a 3-point contest and whatever, and we get to see the young talent and make it in shitty cities. Send it to Sacramento,
Detroit.
Send it to Memphis. Bring it to Detroit. Let these fans see the young kids. Other than that, put a cup-style tournament over 2 weeks in New York and LA every year, or Miami, or wherever.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic.
That'd be dope.
I love that idea.
Like a Ryder Cup for basketball.
I really, really like that idea. I think
awesome.
that would be fantastic. I just, like, we talk about how there's definitely going to be a lockout for the NFL because there's just no way that the two sides are going to come together. Like, there's just absolutely zero shot.
They're going to miss games. Like, the NBA is not going to miss games again. We did this in 11?
Yeah.
Like, we're not missing games again. Like, it's not going to happen. They're not going to let it happen. It happened because of David Stern. It's not going to happen now.
But I'm worried. I'm starting to get worried with how all of the player mobility is gone, that it's going to be really tough to get small market teams on the same page as large market teams.
I think that, like, there's going to be really, really main sticking points. And for the owners, that's going to be it. And then for the players, it's going to be like, no more max contracts. We're done with max contracts. I should be able to make $70 million a year. Like,
which I think would be one idea I saw that I think I really, really like is that if they hold on to the Supermax contract, that should only count as a regular max on the salary cap
and
table.
You just get to make that'd be a great, like, that's the salary cap and the max contract issue is going to be the main sticking point for the players. Is like, we should be able to make more money. There should not be a cap on how much our contract should be. It should only be a cap on how much the salary cap is. Like, you can be willing to go over it, you can be willing to stay under it, but there should not be a limit on how much money I'm worth. Because LeBron James boosted how much of the Lakers' value when he went there? Like, how much did the Cavaliers lose when he lost? Like, $1 billion falls off your franchise value if you don't have LeBron James. Why can he only make $35 million?
It's true.
Like, that'll be the main sticking point for the players.
I think the Supermax has to go, but I do like all of these things that they put in place, like the Supermax, like the Rookie Max extensions. All of these things they put in place were to help small market teams keep stars.
You ready for this one?
Is it a breaking news?
Woj bomb. Woj, like,
is it
stick of dynamite.
Is it Al Horford?
Oh, no.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, no.
Who's the player?
Taj Gibson.
Oh, fuck.
Guess
me.
the team.
Charlotte Hornets.
No. Better. This is the only other team we've been saying.
New York Knicks.
The New York Knicks. For $20 million. 2 for 20 for Taj Gibson. It's another 4. They already had 5. Why did they sign another 4? I don't get it. I try to defend you, Scott Perry. I try. You helped win a championship here. I do all these things to make it sound like you know what you're doing. And this is what you spend your cap space on? $80 million between Taj Gibson and Julius Randle?
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me? And Quinn Cook?
They turned $70 million in cap space into Taj Gibson
Julius
and
Randle
Julius
Quinn Cook.
Randle.
And they have about $20 million left to blow more.
Oh my Christ.
$21 million a year for Randle.
$20 million.
$10 million a year for Taj Gibson, and probably $10 million for Quinn Cook. So you're looking at like $30 more million to just completely blow on 1 year deals, which is more than likely a 1 for 20 for Boogie.
How do you give $20 million when you won't max Kevin Durant? What do you mean won't max Kevin Durant? And then you give $20 million over 2 years to Taj Gibson?
Was anyone out there giving Taj Gibson $20 million?
Was anyone out there even calling him on the phone?
Was anybody? I really need to know.
I wonder if he's like, how many teams called Taj Gibson?
If Taj Gibson was getting anything other than a mid-level.
Palinka probably called him because he was calling everybody.
Sure, but even then, it was a mid-level. There was no way they were like, yeah, we'll give you 2 for 20. It was the 1 for 9.2. Like, there was no way he should get more than that. Maybe it's a player team option for the second deal or for the second year, but dear God.
I thought there was a shot that he would be like a room exception, $4.8 million for 1 year somewhere.
Sure.
That would have been realistic.
Absolutely. What is he, 33?
Or like a tax-paying team gives him the 5.9.
Sure.
Like that would have been realistic to me. 2 years for $20 million.
After you just gave 63 to Randall, they play the same position.
And then they wonder why guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving chose Brooklyn.
He's 34 years old.
Holy shit.
Why you just gave $63 million to Randall and you just paid his backup $10 million?
Is this
and you already have Noah Vonleh?
Is this the worst organization in sports?
I think.
Like, is there
is
even
James Dolan running the meetings?
Is there even a contest?
What's happening? Like, what is? You need a point guard. Why didn't you spend money on D'Angelo? Oh, Kat just put up an Instagram story that just says loading.
Oh, I did see that. Yep.
Well,
D'Lo is headed to Minnesota.
So where the hell's Jeff Teague going? Miami? Philly? The ripple effects is this. This day is. I am now like so thrown off by the Taj Gibson thing. Like
they traded Kristaps Porzingis for Taj Gibson and Julius Randle.
They play the same position. I can't harp on this enough. You just spent $30 million a year on your power forward slot when you had a decent one for like $5.5 million.
If there are any Knicks fans that hear my voice,
the Randall thing, I somewhat like will look at it from an angle of, okay, he's a 20-point-a-night guy. You overpaid for him, but at least you got somebody. I'm not going to give you credit for it, but it's a body. And he's rep by Aaron Mintz. Aaron Mintz has a lot of really good clients. Maybe you want some goodwill there. Like, the Taj Gibson thing, though, I am so lost. You're now taking minutes from Kevin Knox. Like, I just don't get it. What position does Kevin Knox play now? Like, what position does he play? Are you playing Randall at small ball 5?
They don't know. They don't have a vision.
You have a good coach. You have a good executive.
What's Spike Lee doing right now?
Crying. Crying. Remember how happy everybody was on draft night? We got RJ Barrett. We got our guy. What the hell are you doing?
Oh, my goodness.
I hate being a Pistons fan, but I'm so happy I'm not a Knicks fan.
God, I hate Kawhi.
What do you do?
Kawhi Leonard will not take any meetings with teams today. He'll ramp up the process over the next couple days.
He's just hanging out. He's just hanging out.
There was somebody put that Squidward meme when he's sleeping with the reflection, like that switches to eyes open, but it was both were eyes closed. It was just Kawhi Leonard watching all the free agents.
Like, legit, Kawhi probably was supposed to have a meeting tonight, and he was like, you know what? Dinner ran long. I think we'll just do this tomorrow. It's Apple time.
He's just trying. Like, what day was it when? It was like the 4th of July when Boogie finally signed with Golden State, right? That didn't happen right away.
Well, no, but it's a little bit different situation,
right? But he's going to break the internet the same way Boogie did. It'll be like July 4th, and we'll all be chilling at a barbecue in a backyard, and then Kawhi Leonard is going to sign with the Lakers.
That was KD. When KD went to Golden State, it was on 4th of July. Like, I don't know, man. I have no idea what Kawhi's going to do. This is, to me, now, like, Kawhi and Al Horford. And after that, it's just going to kind of be, like, tame. I think D'Angelo's in Minnesota. I think this is over.
I can't believe how quickly Al Horford became, like, the key signing.
Yeah. It happened before 6 o'clock. Like, literally before the clock struck 6, all of a sudden, Al Horford was, like, the second most important guy in the market. It's like Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, Al Horford.
He can either stay in Boston and keep them extremely competitive, like possibly finals contenders next season, or he can go to the Clippers with Kawhi.
Is that it? Like, what's the team? Is it the Lakers? Like, what is the team? What is the mystery? Is Al Horford holding out? And if they don't get
the Lakers.
Well, what if it is? What if it's like, hey, Al, just hold on. If we don't get Kawhi, you're our contingency plan. Like, is that it? Like, other than that, I don't know what the mystery team is. It's got to be the Clippers or the Lakers. The Mavericks don't have any more room.
I mean, Kevin O'Connor said the mystery team's the Celtics.
That's not a mystery. That's just
Isn't that kind of a
That's
cop out?
just toying with my emotions,
Right?
Like
That's what Kevin O'Connor said. He said many
like, has it
executives.
been that the whole time?
Yeah,
Like,
he said many executives think the mystery team is actually the Celtics.
we know it's not the Lakers because it would have leaked, right? If it were the Lakers, we'd know about it. Like
Oh, yeah.
somebody would have
I mean,
squealed like this. They can't keep anything in house.
There
in
have been
LA.
plenty of amateur
yeah.
jersey swaps,
Yeah.
but nothing official.
Yeah, like they're I don't know where he's going. Like maybe it's Minnesota. Maybe Gerson Rosas has something up his sleeve, and Wiggins is gonna be gone, and they're gonna have a ton of room.
I wouldn't hate that.
like
I think him playing next to Cat.
yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't.
it would
he
help their defense quite a bit.
But he'd be the only defender. Like that.
Okogie
That's
would
it.
probably start. Okogie's at least an okay defender.
I mean,
It's Josh Okogie. Like,
they do need
yeah,
defense
yeah.
back. But I don't. I think we've heard something about that by now too. For as much as we heard about D'Lo going there at the last minute.
There's still those ones that come out of nowhere. Like JJ Redick came out of nowhere. Like I still don't see the fit, but it's still just like, wait, what? On a 3-year deal or a 2-year deal, whatever it was. It's like, wow.
I think it was 2.
Yeah, 2 for 26. It's like, holy, where's he gonna play?
He doesn't seem to fit the vision.
Holy shit!
But they have a deep bench. What?
The Knicks released a statement.
Oh, I can't wait.
While we understand that some Knicks fans could be disappointed with tonight's news, we continue to be upbeat and confident in our plans to rebuild the Knicks to compete for championships in the future through both the draft and targeted free agents. All is fine. Everything is good. All is well. Like, it's literally, it's Kevin Bacon in Animal House.
How do you
All
make
is well.
How do you make free agent decisions and minutes after you issue an apology for them? How is this happening in the NBA?
Just sign
the
a guy.
National Basketball Association.
You just signed someone for $63 million and you release a statement saying, we understand that you're disappointed, but don't worry. Like, what? I want to quote Stephen A. How stupid can you be?
I might have nothing left to say. Like, I think this might have rendered me
You
speechless.
just spent $80 million on 2 guys and you released a statement saying, we understand that you might be disappointed, but we're upbeat and we're confident. What? How do they have fans? How does the Garden sell out every night? They're worse than the Lions.
I've never, ever, ever seen a team issue an apology like that.
No. Miami's finalizing a sign and trade with Jimmy Butler. Woj bomb. They're just rolling in.
And what happened? The first hour that we were recording, nothing happened, and now all of a
Now
sudden,
they're just rolling in.
Taj Gibson for $20 million.
We just have to stay on the air now until we find out who's going back. And then we can end the podcast as soon as we find out who's going back to Philly. Like,
Oh my goodness!
Zach Lowe said the statement from the Knicks, this is unusual. I'll go with that. Unusual. Like, yes, that is spot on. It's unusual. It is not the norm.
What did they spend in total today?
At least, we don't know what they spent on Quinn Cook yet, or even if they got Quinn Cook yet, but total it's 83 between Taj Gibson and Julius Randle. 63 for Randle, 20 for Gibson. Like, they both play the same position. I know I've said it 100 times, but like I just want to make sure that's abundantly clear. They both play the same position, which was not the main position of need for the Knicks. Maybe find a veteran guard to play next to Dennis Smith so he doesn't turn the ball over every time he touches it. Like, maybe
the only way that this could have been better is if Steve Mills had uploaded it to Instagram as a notes screenshot.
I feel so bad for Scott Perry. This can't be Scott Perry. He's way too good of an executive for this. Like, this is just not Scott Perry. He has been good everywhere he's gone. He's drafted well. He's made good trades. This is just not Scott Perry. This has got to be Dolan. Like, I don't even know what to make of this. Ooh, Josh Richardson's going back.
I'm scrolling my timeline, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 consecutive tweets quoting the Knicks statement.
It's wild. No one. You released a statement. Free agency's 3 hours old, and you're saying we get you're disappointed, but we're confident. It's only been 3 hours. You didn't have to do this. You didn't have to do this ever.
Imagine
Josh Richardson going back to Philly is eye emoji, eye emoji, eye emoji. A lot cheaper than Jimmy Butler. Does some of cannot close a game for you. Cannot lock down the other team's best defender.
The only he's a good player.
Is a solid wing. For we talked about bad contracts. Josh Richardson does not have a bad contract.
About the same 3-point shooting.
Yeah, and like will be okay not having the ball as much.
He's not on expiring money, is he?
No, he has a good deal. He signed to like a decent. He was one that Miami got right. I think he's like 17 or 18 a year.
10. Wow, even better than that. 10 million this year, 10 next year, 11.6 on a player option in year 3.
I must have been thinking Waiters contract. I don't even. Yeah, that's outstanding.
That's a really good deal
That's
for Philly.
value.
I wonder how much space they get. Well, they don't get any. Well, they sign and trade Jimmy, but they're probably over the cap to do that, so they're probably not getting any space back on this, huh?
Dragic going somewhere? I don't know. Like, maybe they do have something with Cleveland with Kevin Love. Cleveland could take on a bad contract like Whiteside or whoever because they're not trying to win.
One thing
They could buy him out theoretically. If they wanted to. I don't think they would.
One thing this is really making me wonder, though, now that Kyrie's off the market, Jimmy Butler's off the market, Kawhi waiting around. If the Lakers don't end up getting Kawhi and everybody else clears the market, that's trouble.
But then you get your guys. Like, go get the guys you're supposed to get. You miss some of them. Like, you're going to miss out on guys that you wish you could have had. Maybe Taj Gibson would have fit better in L.A.
Ooh.
But, like, you still go get guys like Seth Curry and Danny Green and find a center like, how about Tristan Thompson? Another clutch client.
Dear God.
They're going to sign clutch guys.
The Los Angeles Clutch
Marcus
Sports.
Morris could end up in L.A. Like, you could, like, if you have $32 million and you split it up, you can get one good guy, one decent guy, and one shooter. Is Tristan Thompson a free agent? I don't think he is. No, he's on a 5-year deal. And he obviously opted in, didn't he? He had to have.
Oh, yeah. I'm certain that he did.
He's on the books for $18 million this year. He's not going anywhere.
That was a great deal. 5 years, $82 million.
When you literally get held at gunpoint with LeBron James as the rifle.
LeBron put a gun in his mouth.
LeBron was literally a gun. Like, they held him. Oh,
Al
my
Horford
God.
to the Sixers.
There's your mystery team. So Tobias is a 3. Josh Richardson is a 2. So, man, they're long as hell.
I want to die.
They go 6'10", 6'6", 6'10", 6'10", 7 foot.
I want to die.
Who the hell are they bringing off the bench? And it's Josh Richardson. I mean, what did Josh Richardson shoot from 3 last year? Close to 40?
I want to die.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Boy, oh boy.
That's so much money for 4 years for Al Horford, though.
I want to die.
At least take some solace in that. You don't have to pay Al Horford $110 million over 4 years.
I want to die.
It's a tough one. I can't sugarcoat it.
There were
That's
two
tough.
teams that I really didn't want him to go to, and that was one of them.
Man, they didn't wait long after getting rid of Jimmy. They were like, we're going to use that space. The Tobias thing is wild now. That doesn't work. It's just another guy that doesn't really fit. Philly can't be done. Something else has to happen. One of those guys has to go. Like, that's not going to work. They got 4 guys, 6'10" and above, and only one of them can shoot. Well, 2 of them can kind of shoot. Like,
Horford can shoot.
I was saying Horford.
Yeah, that's
Horford
true.
and Tobias are the 2 guys who can shoot. That's what I'm saying. Like, Embiid can kind of shoot threes.
That's it.
Like, kind of.
But their whole team is stretch bigs.
Yeah,
Like,
and now, like, somebody has to be outside.
did you see that they want Tobias playing the 3? So they're going to
where
play.
else are you going to play him?
They're going to play Horford at the 4.
Wow, Miami got him for 4 years. Didn't have to give him the 5th year. I was wrong. That's interesting.
Wow, I'm like, I kind of want to cry. I can't wait to watch Tobias Harris try to guard professional small forwards.
Zach Lowe is stealing my words and putting them on Twitter. Josh Richardson, Simmons, Harris, Horford, Embiid. Got to digest this all, but that's a monstrously huge starting 5. Like, yes, they're massive. Like,
They're going to look a lot like Milwaukee looked.
yeah, but they can't shoot. Everybody on Milwaukee can shoot, but Giannis.
That they're going to look like Milwaukee size-wise. Dude, they're going to be so good defensively.
Very good.
Just
very, very good.
Except for Tobias Harris. They're going to be
coach now.
so good defensively.
Go get a different coach, please. Like, don't let Brett Brown be the coach for these 4 guys. But, man, like, defensively, you're right. They're a nightmare. This does not fit offensively. It flat out doesn't fit. Like, I'm looking at it, all the measurables, all the shooting percentages, this doesn't work. Like, who's playing outside? Somebody has to give Embiid space. Simmons can't space. Horford can't space well enough. You don't have J.J. Redick. Man, losing J.J. Redick is huge.
Yeah, that's
like,
big.
It's really, really big. You got, like, Richardson's a shooter, but he's not J.J. Redick. Like, Josh Richardson becomes hugely vital to their spacing now.
Wow.
But hey, man, Elton Brand, good for you.
What do the Celtics do now?
Looney? Make the trade for Capella? Can they trade for Capella? Or they don't have the space?
No, they could. They'd have to move Smart. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, that sucks. I'd rather have Looney.
I would rather. I mean, Capella's on a good contract and he's young.
I'd rather have Looney and Smart than Capella.
Yeah, that's where, like, what are you going to... You're going to lose the best defender you have to add a worse defender at a position of need just because?
Steven Adams they still want to get off Steven Adams, right?
But again, you'd have to move Smart.
No, they don't want to take money back. Memphis pick?
I don't think Celtics can absorb him. They only have the MLE.
Should have held on to Baines a little bit longer.
Yeah, that deal might end up going down as not great.
Yeah. The Horford thing threw me for a loop. Obviously, we did not guess them as the mystery team.
I heard rumors. I just kind of refused to put any belief in them. The only good thing about this is, like I've said many times on the Twitter website, we now get to see the father-son duo of Horford and Embiid.
Hey now.
So
I am thrown for a loop by the events of the last few minutes. I really thought that if if Miami was gonna try to make that happen, they would send out Dragic, and then maybe now you're sending what the hell does Miami look like with Jimmy Butler instead of Josh Richardson? Are you just the same team from last year, which was borderline the 8 seed? If Dragic never gets hurt, you're probably the 8 seed, but you lose Dwayne Wade.
you get back basically the same player, just younger.
Yeah, much better than Dwayne Wade right now.
Right.
Jimmy Butler is a tremendous upgrade from Josh Richardson. No doubt about it. But, man, hope Dragic is healthy all year. Hope Waiters is healthy. Deion Waiters and Jimmy Butler is going to be... That won't last. That will not last. Deion Waiters is got to be gone. That will just be a clash of the Titans. Except Deion Waiters doesn't realize that he's not that much of a Titan.
I'm going to be glad to have not paid Horford that much money over 4 years, but I'm not going to be glad about it until 2 years from now. That's where I'm at with that contract.
$97 million in guaranteed, $12 million in bonuses tied to championships for Al Horford's contract.
Boy, they think they're going to win?
It's a lot of money for bonuses. $12 million over 4 years, $3 million in bonuses every year on average. It's a lot of money for bonuses.
It's a weird fit.
I'm serious. Offensively,
the one thing that I guess in a way it's smart because if they're going to get out of the East, they're going to have to play Boston at some point, and they can't ever get by Al Horford. But now they don't have to worry about that because they have Al Horford. Now the Celtics should just go get Tristan Thompson. That's my take on this.
You pay him $18 million a year. It doesn't work in Philly. The more I look at it, I'm just none of these dudes' skill sets match. The hope for Simmons was he evolves into his offensive game, not in transition, being on the block. Well, there's no room on the block for him now. Nowhere. You can't even relegate Simmons to the dunker spot like they did in the playoffs. He was in the playoffs for the whole Toronto series in the playoffs. He was relegated to the dunker spot when they were in the half court. There's no room for him in the dunker spot right now. Ben Simmons is now off the floor if he can't shoot. You can't put him down low because you're going to have 3 other 6'10" guys down there.
Not a lot of point guards that get played off the floor offensively.
I don't get it. It just seems like, this guy wants to come here and we have room now. Sign him. That should have been a point guard. That could shoot.
What's the market look like for Boogie?
Knicks. The Knicks should go back.
Are they going to have the money?
The Knicks? Yeah.
With spending $80 million?
Oh, yeah. They still got $20 million left. It's $70 million in cap space.
Well, I don't...
They renounced Moutier.
Because he can only go back to Golden State for 6.3.
I would go back. I would just go back. That would be what I would do if I were Boogie. But
probably me too. But I'm at a point now where, as a Celtics fan, do you just throw $9 million at him?
Not more than 9.
Well, you can't because you have to get him on the exception.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I feel like Danny probably has a better plan than that.
I would hope.
But again,
because I need defense.
Yeah, I think the Knicks. I think it seems like it's just written in the stars for the Knicks to just spend on big guys for no reason. In a guard-oriented shooting league, let's have our second best prospect. Really, think about the Knicks. Who are their best prospects? Knox, 6'10". Mitchell Robinson, 7 foot. When are these guys going to play? Where are they going to play? Is Knox playing the 3? Is RJ Barrett now playing the 2? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Philly doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense. I think we can't judge it on the first day. I think all these teams are still going to move and do other things and try and finagle, but I don't know what to make of a lot of the East Coast right now.
I texted you a couple days ago, and I said I think the Eastern Conference could be really, really bad.
If you're Kawhi, why the hell would you leave? You can sit out 30 games this year.
This seems ripe for the picking. Yeah. You've got a Brooklyn team with no Kevin Durant that very well could have chemistry issues.
Kawhi's afraid of Brooklyn?
No
chance.
But again, like that would be probably the one team that would scare you the most if they had a healthy Kevin Durant. They don't.
In Milwaukee,
they might have chemistry issues. It's like you already did it to Philly, and they had Jimmy Butler at the time. Now they don't. Now they have less shooting.
Brooklyn is like super dependent on how good Karis LeVert is this year. Like he's their best wing.
The only way I'm leaving if I'm Kawhi is if I really want to be home that bad. Otherwise,
go next year.
It's just like
run it back and go next year.
Because it feels almost like a free championship.
I'm not even kidding. He can sit 25 games. They'll still be one or two in the East.
They'll at least have home court.
Going easily. And all you're worrying about in the playoffs is I got to beat Giannis again. Like it's just that you're not worried about Brooklyn. At that point, you're not really worried about Boston if you're Kawhi. Because somebody's going to knock somebody out. You're only going to have to worry about one of those teams probably.
He's got to stay.
I would.
Like, it just makes sense.
I can't figure out why you'd leave at this point. Everything, and it's smart for him. Sit back and wait, watch the East implode, and then be like, yeah, I'll just rule over this for another year. I don't have to go deal with LeBron and AD in the conference finals.
All right, let's call it a show. Next week, we will know where Kawhi Leonard is going to spend.
Hopefully.
Listen, if we don't know by July 7th?
Yeah.
If we don't know by July 7th, where Kawhi Leonard is going to be spending his next season. Not great.
No, definitely not.
So I think we're going to know by then.
I hope.
Boy, I'm sick. Thanks for listening to us react to free agency in real time.
Godspeed, Knicks fans.
Oh, boy. Good Lord, thank God I'm not a Knicks fan.
Godspeed.